Hey, just a quick video sharing some thoughts on my study of astrology. I have been studying Hindu astrology, but I actually just got some new books. I just started reading these, but just just a few quick things that I found. I just want to share. I've been looking at this time that we're in. What they call we've just gone from the age of Pisces. Now we just entered the age of Aquarius, and this is what they call the precession of the equinoxes. This is it's mathematically determined by like each year at the moment when the sun is at the 0 point Aries, Earth's equator, and they use a position of in references determinate fixed star. It moves a few feet every year. Like when the sun is at the 0 point in Aries every year, the first sign of the sun sees, it's been Pisces, but it moves a few feet like every year, and after hundreds of years, now it's looking at a completely different sign. Now it's looking at the sign of Aquarius. Okay, so this precession of the equinoxes, now there's been different ways of calculating this. There's been a lot of debate about this, and it depends on if you study Eastern astrology or Western astrology. Like this book on Eastern astrology was written in 1932 AD of the Christian era. Now this corresponds to the year 5693 of the Jewish era, like 2592 of the Japanese era, 1351 of the Mohammedan era. Yeah, 2244. Yeah, so it depends on if it's Eastern or Western philosophy. Now I've been looking at the Eastern astrology. Okay, they basically look at it like this. Okay, so the zodiac wheel, it's got the 12 points. They basically look at it as like a clock. Okay, it's like a clock with 12 points. So the 12 numbers on the clock. Okay, so this is it's like a 24-hour, like a daily 24-hour cycle. So like a clock has, okay, so there's 12 numbers, and there's AM and PM. So that's how they look at it. So there's 12 points, there's 12 signs on the zodiac wheel, and so there's AM and PM. There's what they call, there's the ascending arc and there's the descending arc. Okay, so they basically look at the 12 signs, and if you look at the study of Western astrology, okay, this book right here, this Essential Guide to Practical Astrology, this is a really good book if you just want to learn just the real basic stuff, just Western astrology, just the fundamentals, if you want to just get your feet wet. Yeah, this is a really good book. You want to get something like this. But, okay, so the 12 signs on the zodiac, this is actually what they call the quadruplicities, or the modalities. Really on the zodiac wheel, there's actually only like 4 signs, but they have different kind of manifestations. What they call the modalities. Yeah, see, they divide the zodiac into like 3 groups with 4 signs each. So these different signs, these 4 signs, this is like the 4 elements. Like on the elements, there's like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. Okay, it's basically there's fire, water, air, and earth. Okay, and each of these 4, they have 3 different modalities, or 3 different manifestations. Okay, so the 3 different manifestations, it's basically like positive and negative, or it's actually positive, negative, and neutral. But they call it, on the zodiac wheel, they say it's cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Okay, so each of the 4 signs, the 4 elements, you have the 3 modalities, cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. Mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. So yeah, it's basically 4 signs with kind of 3 different. They change in 3 different ways. In Hindu astrology, they call this the instead of the 4 elements, the 4 signs, they call it the 4 powers of Maya. It's the same thing. Yeah, they're talking about the same thing, but they kind of describe it in a different way. Yeah, they call it the 4 spheres or the 4 powers of Maya. Okay, so yeah, so these the powers of Maya. Yeah, you have 3 manifestations. Yeah, that's the 3 different modalities. It's like 3 different guiding qualities. But they go around the wheel like this. Basically, it's like so. It starts here in Aries. So this is the first sign, and so this is this sign. This is fire. This is like nitrogen. This is and this is cardinal. So they go around the wheel like this. Aries is fire, Taurus is earth, Gemini is air, Cancer is water. Okay, so they keep going like fire, earth, air, water. Leo is fire. Virgo is earth. Yeah, air. Libra, water. Yeah, so they keep going like that. And also the 3 different modalities. They go around. Cardinal, like Aries is cardinal. Taurus is fixed. Gemini is mutable. There's cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal. Yeah, so they keep going around. So there's different ways of looking at it, but it basically works the same way. Like, yeah, three different modalities, 4 different elements. But they kind of, if you mix them together, all the different variables, yeah, all the different combinations, yeah, they go around the wheel like this. So it's the different elements. It's like the different elemental powers. It's kind of like different cycles on Earth, like different time cycles, yeah, and these different cycles of energy, really. And this also has a different. You can also look at it as it corresponds to different parts of the body. Like the first sign would be like the head. It goes all the way down to the feet. But okay, it's also like different parts of the Earth in these cycles of energy. So it kind of starts. It starts in the center, goes out, goes back to the center, and goes out. And like as it goes out, it kind of changes the energy in a way that creates this world. Okay, so now we can look closer at these specific signs, like these signs of these ages that we're in, like this age of Pisces going into the age of Aquarius. Yeah, see, it's like started with the age of Taurus. This is the golden calf. Golden calf got thrown into the fire. The fire is Aries. Now we're in we went to the age of the fish. Fish is Pisces, the Jesus fish. Now we're in the age of Aquarius. Now these different elementals, they're like elemental powers, and these different signs. Now we can look at, like in Western astrology, we can look at these signs in a few different ways. Like this, okay, so Pisces, this is a water sign. This is mutable water. Okay, water signs like Pisces, in general, they have to do with kind of intuitive, they're kind of more subtle, but they have to do with like emotional, intuitive, compassionate, yeah, being sympathetic. Yeah, it also has to do with like arts and like music. Yeah, the age of Pisces is heavily influenced, like it had a put a heavy importance on art and music. Okay, so Pisces. Okay, so this has to do with like key concepts. It's like enlightenment, like kindness, imagination, compassion. It's the feet, it's the water, the 2 fish. It's mutable water. Yeah, Pisces is kind of like immutable water is kind of like an oil. They call it the Christos oil, or like the fish oil, because Pisces is the fish. But yeah, Pisces has to do with like a lot of emotion. Really, Pisces to me, from what I've learned so far, I've just started learning about this stuff, but Pisces has to do with exploring like really deep emotional and intuitive and really complex emotions and really intense emotions at times, maybe emotions of despair. Pisces has to do with like it symbolizes like endings, like illness and then recuperation, even like imprisonment. Really, it has to do with like putting yourself out there emotionally and being emotionally vulnerable. So yeah, Pisces is like it's a water sign, so that's feminine. Any feminine signs are water signs and earth signs, I believe. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, water signs usually have to do with emotion, intuition, and and eventually carrying out the empathy and being like a compassionate person, relating to people. Really, water signs are about like kind of blending everyone together, kind of mixing everyone together, kind of unifying. And so Pisces, this is it's kind of a subtle but intense emotional sign. It's more subtle in the physical world, but it's intense, the emotions, and has to do with intuition and like imagination. So this is the water. Now, Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is called the water bearer. Let's see, where is Aquarius? Okay, so the water bearer. Now, Aquarius has to do with, it's really about the mind. It's like the intellect. It's like genius, iconoclastic, rebellious, logical, scientific, intellectual. So this has to do with the mind and knowing, like the motto or the saying of, or the what they call the key phrase of this sign is "I know." Yeah, it's an air sign. It's fixed air. Yeah, so it has to do with like knowledge, friends, associations, innovation. But so this is so it went from this water sign to this air sign, and what they call the water bearer. Aquarius is fixed air. This is like this would be like water vapor in the air. This would be like water molecules in the air that are carried from the water, like what they call evaporation, when the water is carried from the liquid into the air. So the Pisces, this is the intuition. This is deep emotional, deep feminine energy, and so then it goes to Aquarius, is the water bearer. So it's kind of like when signs are kind of next to each other. The signs next to each other kind of complement each other. A lot of the signs that are right next to each other, a lot of times they're kind of the same. They're kind of very similar, or they complement each other in a certain way. But definitely right here, like Pisces to Aquarius. Okay, Pisces is like the feminine waters, is the emotion and intuition. And then you're carrying it into Aquarius, the water bearer. And so this is an air sign. This is more of a masculine sign. This is like a sign that carries the ideas out into the physical world, into the world that we actually see. So this is more of an obvious sign. So you go from a subtle, more feminine, deep emotional sign. This is carried over into Aquarius. Very active in the physical world. So this is kind of what we're dealing with. We are in this time of Pisces, exploring deep emotions, intense emotions, despair, imprisonment, and putting yourself out there vulnerably. And now we're going into this age of Aquarius, and this is the water bearer. This carries the waters of Pisces. So you went from the waters of Pisces, the intuition, the feminine waters, and Aquarius is the water bearer. So now these emotions and the intuition, these are carried out into, this is the wisdom that is carried out into the physical world. So this is really an interesting, like this part of the wheel right here, this is kind of like a really interesting focal point of the wheel, like because this is the last sign, and Aries is the first sign. Aries is cardinal fire. This is the first sign. This is the first sign is usually the explorer. It's really boldly goes out and is really a leader. Really takes risks and really goes out into the world and makes a name for himself in the world. So Pisces, this is the last sign. This is the 12th sign. This is this is a really more of a subtle. This is I don't want to say a lower energy. This is more of a subtle energy. So you're going from a really subtle energy to a really bold, powerful energy, really fiery, volatile energy in Aries. So the first sign, this is like the most energetic, fiery sign. Now from Pisces to Aquarius. Now Aquarius, now this isn't a fire sign, but this is an air sign. This is a really powerful, energetic sign, and kind of a really volatile sign. But from Pisces to Aquarius, it's a little more this is more of a feminine energy than just going from just cardinal fire. But that seems to be what Pisces is. It's carrying the feminine waters. So yeah, the intuition, the wisdom is carried into Aquarius. It's actually carried into less subtle, more obvious, more powerful, but just more powerful physically, what we see in the physical world. So this is really interesting stuff. These signs, and going from this age of Pisces to this age of Aquarius, this is a really interesting, it's really just an interesting time that we're in. And this, a sign of Aquarius is a really complex sign. Yeah, it has to do with like, friendships, like soul connections, and it has to do with like cleansing and like a renewal. So we went from this time of Pisces, like this time of exploring like despair and imprisonment, exploring these deep emotions, these really powerful, intense emotions, and now we're going to Aquarius. Now it's a time for cleansing. It's like you take what you've learned from that time of despair and that intense emotional pain, and now you take what you can learn from it, and you carry that out into the wisdom, into the world. So this is really interesting stuff. This is a really interesting time that we're in, this time of Aquarius. This is going to be a time of cleansing, renewal, intellect, restoring the mind, kind of like passing information, like communication. So this is Aquarius. This is a really powerful sign. It's like a sign of balance and like restoration, and really like this part of the, like I'm telling you, like this part of the wheel, like this is like a focal point of like the living dynamo of power. This sign of Pisces, like Pisces, this is the water, this is the feminine water, and this is the oil. It's like this is immutable water, so it's like a brine. This is like an oil. Really, this is like the blood. Like, first of all, Pisces, this is the last sign. This is the 12th sign. So, at the 12th sign, once you go from the first sign to the 12th sign, I mean, just essentially, you're going to have to go through like a remembrance, like a recollection like taking the best of like a retrospective, taking the best of what you've learned from going through all these signs, and now you're kind of taking like the cream of the crop, and you're carrying that into you have like a powerful fiery sign, or you have a more of a subtle but also a really powerful cleansing sign like Aquarius. Yeah, you see, Pisces is it's a time for like really exploring, like putting yourself out there, like vulnerably and like emotionally. So it's a time of like despair and like illness and recuperation, like imprisonment, but also like spiritual enlightenment. So this time of Pisces is like a time of this is the great remembrance. I mean, it has to be. It's going from the first sign to the last sign. It's going from like it's also going from like the low, or I want to say the most subtle, to like some of the most powerful energies. Like this has the essence of the living dynamo. This has a lot of power, going from a really subtle feminine energy to either of these signs, more of a bold physical energy. But yeah, so this is kind of what I think this is kind of what we're dealing with this time that we're going through. We went through a time of like great despair and imprisonment, these intense emotions, and now this is being carried into. You take what you learn from that and you carry that into the wisdom in this new age, this age of Aquarius. So I think this is what has to do with first you explore like the feminine, the deep feminine energy, the divine feminine, and then once you learn that, you carry that into the physical world. You have to be careful, like these emotions, like Pisces, and people who have their zodiac signs, their sun, what they call their sun sign in Pisces, they tend to be emotional. They tend to act like be reactive emotionally. People that are Pisces, they have to learn to be careful of how they carry out their actions in accordance with their emotions. They have to be very, they have to be more meek with their physical power, not to blend it with their emotions, just acting on emotion. And then Aquarius is more about intellect. It's more about the mind. It's more about knowing. So this was a time of exploring these intense emotions, but now we're carrying that, this feminine energy. We're carrying that, what we learned from that, into the physical world. So I think this is what we're learning at this time of remembrance and this time of carrying the waters of the living waters, the Garden of Eden, into this physical world. And this age of Pisces, this exploring these deep emotions and this intuition, this is what you should have been taking from this time of Pisces, this age of Pisces. And I think that's what, like, in Satan's videos, that's what he talks about, like the way he approaches like feminine energy, like the way he talks about with his, the way he is with his wife. Like he doesn't argue with his wife. Like he never argues. He just obeys her every word. I think that's what he's talking about. You have to really get in tune with these deep, really subtle feminine energies, and then you can carry those into the physical world. But first you have to learn these subtle energies, the divine feminine, because in this world, this part of the world, this part of the division sign, the feminine energies are more subtle. So you have to really be devoted to being in tune to these feminine energies. So this is really interesting stuff. I've been taking a look at these new books. I just got this one. Just got this other one. I just started reading this one. But yeah, this kind of takes a look at a different angle, looking at the signs. But yeah, just some basic stuff for learning about astrology. Yeah, if you want to start learning about this stuff, I really suggest this book as kind of a starter. Just learn some basic stuff about the elements, elemental powers, the modalities, and the different variables in dealing with these different signs. Okay, so that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about for now. But I'm going to start reading like this book and getting more into this one. I'm still reading Astrological World Cycles, but yeah, I'll have some more videos in the next few days as I'm kind of getting some studying done. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Stick around, more videos to come. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks.